and welcome back to my blog, the second half of chapter 3 of what you can do with your willpower. The normal reader never was anxious that the North Pole should be located, and he does not care now whether it has been discovered. Mathematicians and geographers may find delight in the solution of some abstract problem, but the busy citizen who seizes his paper with haste to see if Peary has found the North Pole has no interest in the spot. He would not visit the place if some authority would give him 1,000 acres or present him with a dozen ice floes. What the reader desires is to learn how the willpower in those discoverers worked out through hairbreadth escapes, long winters, and starvation's pangs. It is a great game, and the world is a grand stand. The man with the strongest will attracts the admiration of the world. All the world which loves a lover also admires a hero, and a hero is always a man of forceful will. When we read of Louis Joliet and James Marquette and their terrible experience tracing the Mississippi River, Indians as savage as wild beasts, marshes, lakes, forests, mountains, burdens, illness, wounds, exhaustion, seeming failures, all testify to their sublime strength of purpose. Peter Lemoyne, Jonathan Carver, Captain Lewis, Lieutenant Clark, Montgomery Pike, General Fremont, Elisha Kent Kane, Charles Francis Hall, David Livingstone, Captain Cook, Paul du Chaillu, and Henry M. Stanley carved their names deep in walls of history when differing from other men only in the cultivation of a mighty will. Mary Lyon, Mary Lyon, not Mayor, Mary Lyon, the heroine of Mount Holyoke, used to quote frequently the saying of Dr. Beecher that he once had a machine admirably contrived, admirably adjusted, but it had one fault. It wouldn't go. While Catherine Beecher would retort that Miss Lyon had too much go for so small a machine. But what a monumental triumph was the dedication of the first building of Mount Holyoke College at South Hadley, Massachusetts. Mrs. Deacon Porter wrote to Henry Ward Beecher, "I wish you could have seen Miss Lyon's face as the procession moved up the street. It was indeed the face of an angel." From that immortal hour when that little woman, peeling potatoes as her brother's housekeeper at Buckland, Massachusetts, suddenly determined to start a movement for the higher education of young women, she had written, had traveled, had begged, had given all her inheritance, had visited colleges and schools, going incessantly, working, praying, appealing, until the material embodiment of her martyr sacrifices was opened to women. All women in all countries are greatly in her debt. Men feel grateful for what the higher education of women has done for men. One cannot now walk over the embowered campus of Mount Holyoke College without meditating on what a forceful will of a frail woman set toward the beautiful and good can do within the severest limitations. Vassar, Wellesley, Smith, Bryn Mawr, and the 35 other colleges for women in western and southern states are the children of Mount Holyoke. One lone woman, one single will, a large heart. God sees her and orders his forces to aid her. Richard Arkwright, Stephenson, and Edison in the pursuit of an invention, with stern faces and clenched teeth, work far into the morning. John Wesley, Whitefield, and the list of religious reformers from St. Augustine to Dwight L. Moody have been men of dynamic confidence in the triumph of a great idea. Neil Dow, Elizabeth Fry, and their disciples, urging on the cause of temperance with that motive force which they discovered in themselves, aroused the people wherever they went to assistance or to opposition. Fulton said, "I will build a steamboat." Cyrus Field said, "I will lay a telegraph cable to Europe." Sir Christopher Wren, imitating the builders of St. Peter's, said, "I will build the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral." General Washington said, "I will venture all on final victory." And General Grant said, "I will fight it out on this line." When Abraham Lincoln gave his eloquent tribute to Henry Clay in 1852, he said, "Henry Clay's example teaches us that one can scarcely be so poor but that, if he will, he can acquire sufficient education to get through the world respectably. To such men, log cabins were universities. Daniel Webster decided at the end of his day's work plowing a stony field in the New Hampshire hills that he would be a statesman. Thomas H. Benton, when nearly all men supposed the wilderness unconquerable, decided to push the Republic west to the Rocky Mountains. Salmon P. Chase, from the time he ran the ferry boat on the Cuyahoga River, kept in his pocketbook a motto, "Where there is a will, there is a way." Charles Sumner had a disagreeable habit of talking about himself and boasting of his learning. He was frankly told one day by James T. Fields that it was a weakening trait. Mr. Sumner thanked Mr. Fields and told him that he had determined to discontinue such foolish talk. "He fought himself," wrote Mr. Fields, "and he conquered." James G. Blaine, in a college at Washington, Pennsylvania, saw a student who had been too devoted to football weeping over his failure to pass an examination. Warned by the failure of this student, James told his mother that he would not play another game of football while he was in college. He kept his resolution unbroken throughout the course. When James A. Garfield was earning his tuition as a bell ringer at Hiram College, he resolved that the first stroke of the bell should be exactly on the minute throughout the year. The president of the college stated that the people in the village set their clocks by that bell, and not once in the year was it 1 minute ahead or behind time. Grover Cleveland at 18 was drifting about from one job to another, and men prophesied that he would be a disgrace to his overpious father, who was a preacher. Mr. Cleveland said in a speech that, "Like Martin Luther, I was stopped in my course by a stroke of lightning." It does not appear to what he referred, but it does appear that he decided firmly that he would choose some calling and stick to it. He decided upon the law and was so fixed in his determination to know law that he stayed in his tutor's office 3 years after he had been admitted to the bar and there continued persistently in his studies. What will Chapter 4 bring us? We'll see, unless I decide to take another turn in the road. Make it a great day, and bye for now.